This is a true story about four divers who, after finishing their dive and returning to the boat, found one person missing and quickly called for help. Unexpectedly, when the rescue team found the missing person underwater, they discovered a knife in his chest. How could someone who disappeared underwater suddenly be stabbed? This incident happened in Croatia on the night of September 10, 2002. 5 people decided to go diving for fun. Someone mentioned a cave underwater and suggested they all explore it. However, one guy said it was too dangerous to dive into the cave, so he stayed on the boat to watch over it while the other 4 went into the sea with their diving gear. They soon found the cave entrance, which is divided into 4 parts. The entrance is shaped like a chimney, hence called the chimney area. To the lower left is the cave area, and to the right is the complex passage area. Below is the deep cave area. As they dug deeper into the chimney area, they realized it was much larger and deeper than expected. Halfway through, they decided to abandon the cave exploration because their equipment wasn't suitable for such depths. They signaled each other and returned along the same path. Since the area outside the cave was relatively safer, they split up to enjoy their time. As their oxygen was running low, they all returned to the boat. But then they noticed something was wrong. Kukris hadn't come up yet. Based on the time, his oxygen should have run out, so 2 more experienced divers put on new tanks to search for Kukris. They searched around the cave entrance but found nothing, so they returned to the boat. They took flashlights and went back into the cave, thinking Kukris might have sneaked back in for an adventure. With flashlights, they weren't afraid of getting lost. They searched from the chimney area to the cave area, which was vast and pitch black, making it hard to find anything. After searching this area, they still didn't find Kukris, so they decided to check the deep cave area. However, as they entered the passage to the deep cave area, they felt a chill. The passage was like a maze, chaotic and very deep. With their oxygen running low, they realized this wasn't working and decided to return to the boat and call for help. The police advised them over the phone not to go back down for safety reasons and to wait for professional divers. Unexpectedly, it wasn't until after 6 a.m. that the police arrived, and worse, the 2 officers who came didn't seem professional and lacked complete diving gear. The police borrowed some equipment from them to dive and search for Kukris. The group waited on the boat for over an hour until finally, one officer returned with bad news. First, they hadn't found the missing Kukris. Second, based on their experience, they judged that the officer had ascended too quickly and suffered from decompression sickness, so he was sent to the hospital. Tragically, another hour passed and the other officer hadn't surfaced. Based on the oxygen tank time, it was likely that Kukris wasn't found, and instead all the officer got trapped. 2 officers were sent out. One ended up in the hospital, and the other went missing. Eventually, the police brought in a more professional team of divers. They quickly found the missing officer in the cave area, far from where the deity Chianiing was located. It seemed he got lost when the deity's character fell off, and he couldn't find the exit until his oxygen tank ran out, leading to his death. Later, Kukris was found at the deepest part of the cave. Shockingly, he had a knife in him, suggesting it wasn't a drowning but a murder. The police arrested all 4 divers and interrogated them separately, using a lie detector. 2 of them showed unusual nervous reactions on sensitive topics. However, lie detectors can only assist investigations and aren't evidence, so the 2 were prioritized for further investigation. Meanwhile, officers began checking the dive computers of the 5 divers. They all wore devices that recorded their depth in real time. The records showed Kukris kept diving deeper from the start, only pausing briefly in the chimney area. The records for all 4 were identical until they greeted each other to head back. The other 3 didn't notice Kukris wasn't swimming back but continued alone, unbeknownst to his companions, until he slowed down around 40 meters underwater. He was likely in the passageway at that point. He was lucky to find the way to the vibrant zone quickly and reach the deepest part, but after arriving, he immediately swam back. At about 35 meters, he started behaving strangely, fluctuating up and down for half an hour. Clearly, his return wasn't smooth. The police speculated that Kukris got lost because this depth is where the complex passage is. Later, he stayed still at 40 meters for 10 minutes. During this time, he might have been thinking or doing something. but no one knows. What is certain is that he was stabbed at this point, then started sinking straight down. This proves that Kukris was harmed by the three who went down with him. Their activity tracks were completely different from his. Only the person alone on the boat had no recorded data. He didn't go underwater, so he didn't turn on the recorder. Could it be that he went underwater without a diving recorder, drove Kukris away, and then returned? The investigation results showed that the person alone on the boat and his equipment showed no signs of going underwater or being used. Without diving equipment, he couldn't dive so deep to harm others. Some speculated if someone tampered with the recorder, but investigations showed no signs of deletion or alteration. When the recorder was found, it was intact and worn by Kukris. Later, forensic examination revealed that the wound angles and directions matched those of a suicide, and no evidence of murder by the other four was found. All four were released. The conclusion was that Kukris, unable to find an exit as his oxygen was running out, chose to commit suicide in despair to reduce his suffering.